Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna share how things come to me and I allow them to come. And I didn't worry about, what to do. I get to go. Here's what's interesting. So my man, Art, he signed us up to go to a trip to Portugal. And we're gonna go a week from Wednesday. And I'm like, Portugal, what the heck?
Oh,
I know, right? But then, I didn't know that Fatima is in Portugal. Duh. So here I am, the little spiritual pilgrim chick, and I have been to John of God, and then I'm reading the itinerary. We get to go where all the pilgrims go, to where they had that blessing and the occurrence of seeing the Divine Mother. And it was 100 years, somebody told me yesterday, it was 100 years last week. Sorry, Barbara, I didn't have it on. Now you can turn it down a little. And what happened is that she says it was 100 years in 2017 that they had that vision where the children saw her. Isn't that beautiful?
1917?
Yeah, 2017, so I guess it was 1917. I don't know. Now I gotta go see the movie. All right, because I'm interested. But what was beautiful is that I didn't realize it. And this man, says he doesn't have a spiritual bone in his body, but he does because he's with me. Okay, and I call him my Yoda. All right, because he's got some divine wisdom. But what occurred to me is that I just said yes. And I said, okay, I'll go on that trip. There must be something there for me and some shift that's going to happen for me. So what I'm saying for you is that things will flow like a river or a stream in front of you. And a lot of times we say no. What if we said yes? What if we said, oh, you know what? I'm going to give that a whirl. Maybe that's going to be something that's going to shift me to another level of awareness. Wouldn't that be fabulous? So, I want to stop for a second and talk about old age, because I was talking to my mom yesterday, and my mom's 90, my goodness, she's 94. And she says, I am not going to go out, because she reads this stuff. She's been reading Thomas Trowert's, and she was like in her 40s, okay? Thomas Trowert, that man is deep. Anyway, so talking about old age, and she said, I'm going to consciously decide when I want to go, and I'm going to go in my sleep. Wow. How many of you want that? I said, oh, I'm with you, Mom. Okay, I'm going to decide too. All right, so this is called old age. A pious man who had reached the age of 105 suddenly stopped going to the synagogue. Alarmed by the old fellow's absence after so many years of faithful attendance, the rabbi went to see him. He found him in excellent health, so the rabbi asked, how come after all these years we don't see you at services anymore? The old man looked around and lowered his voice. I'll tell you, Rabbi, he whispered. When I got to be 90, I expected God to take me any day. But then I got to be 95, then 100, then 105. So I figured that God is very busy and must have forgotten about me. And I don't want to remind him. Is that cute? So how would we reframe that one? I think I'm gonna, give grand and glorious thanks and go to the synagogue and praise and thank you, God, for giving me another 25 years. Why wouldn't you do that? There's a good reframe. Anyway, so what we were talking about earlier, and I was saying about Ernest Holmes, and it's what science of mind is. It's a teaching, it's a philosophy, and it's a way of life. And when we do this philosophy, when we do this teaching, it's not something that's easy to do. And a lot of times what we say in this philosophy is that we don't have hundreds of people out the door. You know why? Because we get to take responsibility for our lives. We're not like some of the Christian churches where they tell you what to do. what we do here is we give you the opportunity to empower yourself to change your life. And that's really what it's about. And that's the highest spiritual practice anyway. So I was looking at that, and she says, you know, so there's the other story. So getting back to the trip, so I said, gee, you know, I think I need to get a speaker, you know, to come and, but wait, okay, so I need to get a speaker, and I didn't think about it because Roxy and I are busy getting the fair together. And so I get in the mail like a day or two later after I have the thought. This is what I'm saying, when we allow and we just say, you know, I really could use, and then the universe says, here, beloved, and just hands it to you. So I looked at her DVD because she did a really good job, and I go, she's a good little speaker. And my friend from Unity in Ventura, she had given her a recommendation letter, and I said, oh, that's even better, Reverend Kathy, okay? And so she wrote this book and sent me the book and spent money and put all this time and effort and energy into it. And I said, you know what, I bet this gal is good. So we watched it. And then I looked at it over the last couple of days, and I said, oh, this is a good book. And she has put her heart and her soul into it. It's called The Soul Search. So what we're going to, pardon?
Who's the author?
Her name is Reverend K-N-E-C-T, so Knight, I guess you would say, if you're the K silent, Knight, K-N-E-C-T-H-T, So anyway, I left her a message and I sent her an email, and I bet she'll be here when I'm gone. You guys will love it. All right, so it's like we have things that what we were reporting on what we see in our lives earlier today when we did the connection time. But what we do a lot of times, and it's exactly what you were saying, Darylyn, is that we have to watch out for these other statements. So we're, oh wow, I'm aware that I have no patience on the freeway with people that drive 10 miles an hour in the fast lane, okay? But it says watch out for making yourself right and another wrong. Shame reactions. Perfectionism. Oh, anybody do that one? Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise God. Okay, comparisons. Comparing. Well, that house is so much prettier than my house. And it's like, no, my house is gorgeous. How can I make it even better? Long-winded storytelling rather than concise reporting. Ooh, I've learned how to cut that down. Okay, strong negative emotions, especially anger, fear, resentment, and shame. You know, state like they're in the present and don't get infected by them. So like, gosh, that really makes me angry. And okay, I'm present to it, and what can I do to shift myself? Barbara has a story about that we'll have a little bit later. And being triggered by a memory of something unpleasant that could have enrolled you in the story rather than looking at the big picture to see what is true. Okay? So looking at the past, and what I'm saying is like looking at the past and then keep getting re-triggered over that over and over and over. And we don't need that. Just move on and allow ourselves to be in this moment and be grateful for what we have now. Okay, so an example is, here's the negative talk. Oh no, this is about her bank account. She said she was overdrawn. Oh no, I can't believe I did this. I hate being overdrawn. I really can't believe I did that. Anybody ever say that? And I did that with a credit card payment, and I've been paying it faithfully for years, and I forgot. And you know what I immediately did? Oh, you're such an idiot. How could you forget that? And then I had to go, ooh, cancel. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to know that it's fine and there's not going to be a huge fee because I paid it late. And sure enough, I got the statement. That's how it was. My shame soon turns to blame at my boyfriend who I've just broken up with. He is causing me stress. It's because of him that I made that mistake in my bank account. And it's like blah, 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 right? Then I think, well, I shouldn't have to suffer any more than I already am. I take good care of my money, and this shouldn't be happening to me. Anybody else should on themselves or shouldn't on themselves? And then now I feel entitled, think I'm really feeling positive. But if I were to check in with myself, I'd notice the knot in my stomach. So anyway, with that, we look at how can we shift that around, right? And how can we move that into a positive way of being? So then it says, I'd like to report that being overdrawn confuses me as I always have a good record of my transactions. Do you like that? Okay, so you could use that with anything. I notice I don't like and feel compelled to get to the bottom of it. I notice I've been really out of sorts lately due to breaking up with my boyfriend. Being overdrawn in my account is a reminder of how my life has changed. Oh my gosh, you want to write that one up? So when something occurs, would you mind, Diana?
Oh,
Yeah. So I like that statement. This is a reminder of how my life is changing. So let's say something negative happens to you. This is a reminder of how my life is changing. Do you like that better than, what a nut I am for creating this to happen?
How shall I respond?
How shall I respond? I didn't buy into the negative emotion that wants me to feel sorry for myself, but the temptation is there. Don't we all do that? And then she goes on to say, I also notice I want to blame this on my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. And instead I stick to the facts and have compassion for myself. And there it is. And then, so I have compassion for myself. That's another good one, right? I have compassion for myself. And then the last one is, I made a mistake, now what? Or so what? Okay? Now what or so what? I made a mistake. Yeah, and have compassion. So that's why I'm having to write that, have compassion. So let's take a circumstance. Anybody have one you want to work with? And don't be embarrassed or shamed. But is there something that you'd like us to reframe up here? Because if you can't think of one, I know I can, but I want it to come from you. Okay, so anybody have anything you want to reframe? Okay, Sharon.
I just had a series of mishaps in the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
First, my garage door wouldn't go up. I couldn't get in my house. I was locked out.
Okay.
It was cold. It was late. And then I had a flat tire, like 2 days later, when I was out in the back. I'm going, so how come these little mishaps keep happening to me? You know, so
And there's a statement, why are these mishappenings happening to me? Okay, so the first one is Diana's statement, which is,
Why did this happen to me? No. Why did this happen for me?
why is this happening for me? Yeah,
I kind of thought that through after you said that.
right.
You know.
And then what else, come on, what else can we say? You know, if that happens, something occurs like that, you know, and how can we reframe that? You know, so she can't get the garage door open, you're standing there going, oh man, what would you say in that moment so you can get more clarity? What can we say?
I can't wait to see something good happening out of this.
Oh, there you go. Wow, I'm so excited to see what joyful things are going to occur out of this. I mean, really.
I must be getting these teachings finally.
You are. Good girl. Good girl.
So
Yay!
how are we gonna say it? What?
I am so joy-filled knowing that there is something greater coming into my life. Okay, there's a reframe.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah? You got that? Okay.
It can trigger your creativity.
Oh my-
Improvise a new way to get in the house.
Oh my gosh, did you hear that? It triggers creativity. I can devise a new way to get into my house. I love that.
And that's what kind of happened.
Oh, it did. So how did you get into your house, Sharon? I want to hear.
Well, I've been meaning to fix the lock on my back door, which I hadn't put up doing after the floods and all that stuff.
Oh!
So it forced me, after a locksmith came and picked the lock, so I could get it another door.
Yes.
It forced me to have him come back and fix that lock on my back door. So now if that happens, I have another way to get it.
Yes. And so there you go. That's when Spirit's like, you really need, oh no, I'll do it tomorrow. And then you get to pay him twice.
Right.
I love it. Okay, how about the flat tire?
Well, that was a blessing, kind of, because it was so worn. I was just so fortunate it didn't happen to me on the freeway. And luckily, it happened, in a safe place. But it forced me to get new tires, which I knew a month ago.
There we go again.
It was near time to get new tires.
See how the universe supports us? And there was one time, I've got a well, it's not brand new, it's a used brand new car for me, but I got a Prius, and I was supposed to come up here and do the not the Gong Show, what's the other one? We did the Bowls. And so I end up, and I'm like, yes, I'm driving up from Orange County, and I got to see my granddaughter, and I'm gonna get to the center, yeah, I'll be there, and I can do this. And then I get a flat tire on the freeway, on the 101. And so the blessing was, and I thinking, oh, well, I guess I wasn't supposed to be up there. And so by the time I got back to Ventura, because I was in between Ventura and Santa Barbara, it was like 7 o'clock at night, and I had to let go of, well, you're supposed to be there. And then I realized, oh, this was an opportunity for me to nurture myself. Then I found this amazing Mexican restaurant across the street from the tire place that he took me to, and I'm like, there you go, more nurturing. Life is good. Isn't that fantastic? So there's reframing, and it's really, you go, well, this sounds kind of, well, this isn't deep, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's deep, because the more that we reframe, the more that we allow, the more that we do that, as Isha was reading out of the Science of Mind, the more that energy will come into us and it be attracted to us, right? Because we want to create that, and then also take the opportunity, like Sharon, you'll be, okay, I'm getting this message, maybe I'll get those tires now, instead of having that occurrence, right? And it's really about keeping our lives into that flow of beauty. Barbara?
So there's been issues with communication at work throughout the years, and
With what? I'm sorry.
with new people and communication and personalities and things. And when something comes up now, I've learned to just say, oh, here we grow again.
Yeah, here we grow again. Okay, so let anybody else, there's a circumstance. How about, this is a good, anybody have any issues around their health, their weight, their joints, arthritis? Anybody have any kind of health stuff? If you don't want to work on that, what do you want to work on? How about relationships with other people? Anybody have any difficult people you want to talk about? How we can reframe that, beloved one?
When my brother shows up.
Oh, good one, Denise, because I know her brother, okay? All right, so no judgment, just that he's a fascinating character.
Yes, I just used that last line there, that sounds like a good one.
Which one, Denise?
New opportunity to grow.
Oh, a new opportunity to grow. And then, conversely though, how can you bring more energy to surround yourself in love and peace and harmony when he's there? Because so you don't have to go, oh yeah, I gotta grow again. It's more about how can I embrace more of self-love? Because as we embrace self-love, as we embody that within ourselves, what's going to happen to the people around us in our lives? How are they going to respond to us? More loving. Exactly. So it's like you hear, oh, I don't want to do self-love again. But you know what? In our society, it's always about self-love and self-nurturing. It's always about honoring and respecting ourselves. It's always about allowing ourselves to feel and to honor ourselves. So when we sing that song here, I Love Me, it's really about allowing ourselves to be present to how lovely we are, how wonderful we are, how amazing we are. So it's really what it is. So anybody else, any thoughts on that, about difficult people that you want to share? We'll put up on the board. Okay, go ahead, Diana.
Well, so there's a person that's being real bullying and critical of me, and that all goes back to my past.
Right.
And so, for me, because I just never let myself feel it, and I just would sort of keep going on and never have a negative thought about them. I'm doing the opposite, where I'm embracing my shadow and I'm thinking to myself, you think you're really spiritual and you're also a bitch.
Whoa!
So I get to embrace my shadow again.
I love it, because we also say if something's, as EJ read, if something's in front of you, then we look at what part of me is in that person. Where am I critical? Where am I judging? Where do I do this stuff? And then it's allowing ourselves to shift and move from that. And what I love about this teaching is that it's always about a self-inquiry. It's always about how can we grow and shift and move into another level of awakening, of understanding, because the spiritual journey doesn't end when you become enlightened. That's one level. There are thousands of levels of enlightenment. You know that, right? So you think, oh, I'll become enlightened. I'll be there. That's the ego. And then there's other steps and other levels that we go beyond that. So Barbara, you want to, in a nutshell, talk about how you shifted from, and come on up and talk real quick, because she told me a story yesterday, and this totally fits in, and we'll close out with this, because I thought it was so good.
Hang on.
Just a little light. I can't even see. Oh, there it is. It's on.
Okay,
Ooh, I do.
all right. Well, I'll try and make it short, but Tuesday, I got something in the mail that made me very angry. And it went over to Wednesday, and I read it again, and I was just really angry, and I don't get that way that much. And I couldn't shake it. I tried blaring music and singing, that didn't help. I tried, getting out of the house and whatever, but nothing was shaking it, and I just don't like to hold on to this anger, and it had been 2 days, and so I thought, what can I do? I've got some tools here, what can I do? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna turn on the CD from, what's her name?
Master Lillian Smythe.
Master Lillian Smythe, who comes here and does this little beautiful Chinese meditation.
The Tao meditation.
The Tao meditation for peace, love, and harmony.
Mhm.
And she says you don't have to play it loud, you just have it soft in the background. So I thought, okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to turn on the CD and go lay down. So I laid down, and I was meditating like that for at least a half hour. You get really deep with that meditation thing. And anyway, I woke up and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty good. Yeah. So I had plans at night to pick up a friend and go down to the near-death experience talk. So I got in my car and was going down the highway to go get my friend. And all of a sudden, just before the mission exit, the car in front of me slammed on his brakes. So I slammed on my brakes, and I got to about 2 feet from him. And I thought, oh, thank God. Wow, I didn't hit him. And I relaxed, and then all of a sudden, boom, a van behind me hit me real hard and put my car into the next car, which then went to the next car, and we were a 5-car pileup on 101.
Yeah.
So you may have heard it on the news. I was the 4th from the front. So I'm like, what just happened? Ooh, that van hit me. So then one by one the cars were going off to the side. Thank goodness, or we would have kept getting hit. And so I was off to the side, and I did a check. I'm like, hey, I'm okay. I'm okay. All right. Hey, I'm okay. And I was still in this peace, love, and harmony from that meditation. Thank God. So I get out of my car, and I look at the guy in front of me was out of his car, and you know, he said he'd call the 911 and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go check on people. So I went to the cars and I'm like, are you okay? And, yeah, okay. And went to the person behind me because she was still had her car on and she's still sitting there like this with big sad freaking out eyes. And I'm like, and I went up to her and she rolled down her window and I said, are you okay? And she said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, they're just cars. They're just cars. They, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, so I'll just speak out, I think it's just the battery died.
So, they'll be,
Here, I'll
we'll be
speak in
okay. We're all okay, and so, they're just cars. Because I didn't want to, other people would have been dropping the F-bomb and angry. Nobody was angry.
Isn't that
Okay, so
amazing?
the guy with the tow truck that patrols the highway happened upon us, and he came out, I think his name was Miguel. Nice guy. He explained what would happen, that the CHP guy would come and he would write a report and give us all a card, that we would have a number and then we could call the next day to get our cars fixed. And I'm like, great, thank you so much. I'm like, can I give you one of these? And he's like, yeah. So I'm hugging the Miguel, and then, I went back I kept going back to the car behind me because I knew she needed a lot of love. Because, without her, we wouldn't have smashed any cars. But it was such a great opportunity. So anyway, so I went back, and her mom was in the passenger seat. And I said, I went over to the mom's side and I said, are you okay? And I reached in and I'm touching her shoulder and caressing her a bit and giving her love. And she's like, I don't think she spoke much English. She goes, my heart, something like that. And I said, I looked at her daughter, I said, I think she needs to get checked out. And she said, I do too. I said, I'll call for an ambulance. Don't worry, you'll be okay. I'm gonna call right now. I went and called. So the fire truck came and helped block traffic. And these 3 great firefighters came, and they really didn't have much to do. Because then the ambulance came and they got grandma on the stretcher, and I'm just sitting there just stroking her arm and sending her as much love as I could and saying, it's okay, you're going to be okay. And so then the other people were out of their cars and kind of freaking out, and I'm like, could you use one of these? And I said, I could use one of these. Do you want one of these? And they said, yeah. So I'm hugging everybody. I'm hugging every driver. I got to hug all those firefighters.
Oh, nice.
And I talked to them about I said, were you involved in the mudslide? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, oh, give me another one. You guys are awesome. You were so awesome. And it was very, I acknowledged what they did. I said, I work at the hospital, and, we saw some of those patients too. And I found the guy that helped save the patient that I saw.
Wow.
And the other guy said, well, I'm the one that found the toddler. And I'm like, oh, you need another one. And it was just so, they really heard. I don't know, I guess. But then the CHP guy came by, finally got to me, and he was writing out his little report so that I could call and get my car fixed the next day. And his name's Scott. And so Scott's saying, well, so where were you going? Were you on your way home? I said, no, actually, I was on my way to a near-death experience talk. And he looks at me and goes, really? I said, yeah, we could have had one here. and he was interested. I was telling him about it. And anyway, so I said, what's your name? And he told me, and I'm like, okay, you're doing great. So the next morning, I'm still in this peace, love, and harmony state, just almost euphoric from listening and meditating to that CD for a half hour.
Yeah.
And so I called that number, and I talked to the CHP office, and I said, you know, before we go, I gotta tell you, Scott was just awesome. He did such a great job, and he was so calm and warm, and I just want you to know that. And the guy said, hey, would you mind talking to his boss? I'm like, no, I would love that. Please let me talk to his boss. So I got his voicemail. I left this long message about what an awesome guy he was and stuff. And that Miguel, the guy from the tow truck, he had given me a little card. He'd given everybody a little card for a survey, because I guess maybe it's a new service or something, I don't know. He said, would you fill this out and send it out and put it in the mail tomorrow? I said, oh, yes, I will. And what's your name? That's where I found out his name. And I wrote right in big letters on the bottom, Miguel is awesome. So it just really, you know, usually when you're in a car accident, everybody's tense and everybody's stressed.
Exactly.
I don't know if I helped create this, but I think I did.
You
This,
did.
you know, just this, it's all okay. They're just cars, and it's fine, and we'll all be fine. And it was, and I listened to my intuition too, because just before I left the house, I thought, you know, you bought a new coat last month a new winter coat, and those tags are still on it. Take those tags off and wear that coat, because it's cold out there. I was standing on the side of Highway 101 for an hour in the dark.
Thank
I
goodness.
was like, I've got this great coat, it's keeping me warm, and it's good for hugging because it's kind of cushy. It's just, you know, it was just such a, and I got my car in, I got the rental, all before my husband came home 2 days later. So he didn't have to deal with any of this. So
Great.
I know it's just
Awesome, thank
peace,
you,
love, and
Barbara.
harmony.
Yay, peace, love, and harmony, and it's also our teaching, right? Was that great? Now, did you love that?
What was the CD's name?
It's love, peace, and harmony. When you come to Master Lillian Smythe, she'll give you one, or you could get it downloaded.
You can download it.
You can download it. So it's, just type in the song, Love, Peace, and Harmony, and you'll have it. And then you could use that as a meditation.
And she goes on the third,
Right.
third week of the month. is that right?
Yeah, and you know what? I'll be doing that in a moment. So thank you very much, and thank you for playing, everybody. Isn't that great? So now you have some great examples how to shift and how to move your life in a way where it comes in to be a joyous experience, like what Barbara said. You need to do a YouTube on that. We need to film you. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Anyway, so thank you so much. It's great. So thank you, and thank you for playing, as always. I love it when you're willing to do this work together. And with that, we have a song from George.